Welcome back, everybody. Canada's daytime sports talk show rolls on. Sports update. The Blue Jays will walk onto the diamond at Salem Field in Buffalo, New York tonight as the host team for the first time in 2020. Toronto opens a 3-game set with the Miami Marlins after spending the start of the season unsure where it would call home for the shortened baseball campaign. Buffalo last hosted a regular season Major League Baseball game in 1915. Cleveland Indians manager Terry Francona will return to the team today after missing more than a week so he could rest while dealing with a gastrointestinal condition. The team says Francona will be in the dugout when the Indians open a 2-game home series against the Chicago Cubs. Orlando City and Portland will meet in the MLS is Back tournament finale tonight, with the winner hoisting a trophy less than 24 hours before the league resumes its revised regular season in home markets. It might just be a fitting end to an event that set a Guinness World Record for being the largest single-location soccer tournament. This sports update for Wendell Clark's Classic Bar and Grill, corner of Idlewild and Circle Drive in Saskatoon, where they're humming right now, I'm sure. Doyle checked in earlier from Wendell Clark's, where it is Taco Tuesday today. That's chicken tacos, $13.99, featured at Wendell Clark's Classic Bar and Grill in Saskatoon. See you at Wendell's. So what are we hearing about the CFL? I guess I'll start with this. We heard that we might know by Friday. Clark got a message from a trusted source. Very, very cautiously optimistic that the league will play in 2020.
Yeah, we're starting to hear some people saying, sounds like there's a chance that football's coming back. You know, it's sprinkling. People throughout the league are starting to hear it, but we've heard it before.
Yeah.
So cautiously optimistic. I want to be excited, but until we actually hear something substantial, I don't even know what the return to play plan is. How many games? You know, what types of days? How many a week? What's the schedule going to look like? I want to see all of those details. You announce those. If you have any intentions of playing, announce the plan. And then as you work towards that day, we'll find out if it's confirmed or not. But
we've been fooled on this before. I'm not really at all convinced. I don't think that they're going to play. But I want them to play. Mm-hmm. There would be nobody happier than me if my friends got back to work, if the players got on the field and we got this thing moving again. But the logistical details, and knowing for a fact that the football operations staff have not been consulted, really makes me hesitant to believe at all that they're going to play. As you said it best, you'll believe it when you see it, and me too. But if they do get out on the field, we got something to talk about and report on, and I want them to play. But this smacks to me a lot of the Farhan Lalji report from a few weeks ago that, CBA talks are going great and teams have been told to prepare to start arriving in Winnipeg September 15th. And you got the CFLPA president, Solomon Elamimian, going, where are you hearing that? Who is your sources?
Yeah.
And it's like, are those same people at it again? Just creating false hope? And then another important point I want to make here, because Clark had said, Delvin Breaux has come out and said he's not playing this year. And I think I'd seen that on Delvin Breaux's Twitter somewhere too. Star corner for the Ticats and former New Orleans Saint. Shaq Evans with his self-imposed deadline of last Friday for Randy Ambrosie. One thing we have to realize is you can't take players seriously, or they not necessarily saying what they mean. They're speaking out of frustration, I guess is my point. That's not to say you can't believe them. But if the league comes with some knock your socks off offer, they will vote in favor of playing. I do believe that. I just don't see where that offer is coming from.
Yeah, haven't seen it yet. No indication that it's coming. But yeah, when the players get to social media, that's real. That's authentic. They're frustrated. They want to know what's happening. They see all these other leagues. They see the NFL starting training camp, and the cases are way worse down there, right? They see the NHL back to play. They see the NBA doing things right. Even baseball is starting to get, moving. And they've had their battle with COVID, but the CFL is the only league right now without a plan. The leagues that have canceled, at least there's a plan. The NLL canceled, but they have a plan. Start working on next year and all the rest. So I think that's the frustrating part is, for the CFL players, you see all the other athletes with some assurance of a plan. They have purpose, and they're sitting there, well, aren't we pro athletes too? Why are we the only ones that don't know what's happening? They're the only ones that don't know what's happening.
And coaches and staff too.
Right, but the CFL, yeah.
Coaches and staff of the CFL.
For sure.
All these other leagues seem to work in lockstep together along the way, and there's been none of that in the Canadian Football League. And the other part of this is those leagues didn't have to use government money to get back onto the floor or the ice or whatever it may be, or the diamond. Like, the thing with the CFL is even if they do play, you understand they're nowhere near out of the woods, because the only way that they can play is if the federal government pays for it. Everybody's admitted that. And the federal government, from everything I've heard, is still hesitant to do it. So if they do stroke the check and they do play, for what? Let's remember the federal government is the reason they're doing it, not because of their own devices. And our VP of Sim Events, Nelson Hackowicz, writes in and says, can't wait till we knock around what the CFL will look like under the guidance of MLSE. I'm expecting, I've been told I'll get another update today on the MLSE story, but there's nothing imminent, no announcement forthcoming anytime soon. But to say that even the CFL will be under the guidance of MLSE is probably wrong. I'll go back to 24 hours ago when I said there'll be an investor in the CFL. To what degree? I don't know. I'm not sure even they know. But Darren, you're a businessman. You own businesses. If they are to the degree of 51%, and by the way, how do you even calculate what the league is worth?
Right.
How would you calculate that?
It'd be really tough. You'd have to look at, the power of the brand, and with each individual team kind of being its own entity, right? Riders community owned and other teams that are privately owned. You have to look at your ability to make money too, right? Owning the CFL, how much can you capitalize off of each of the individual teams? So you look at things like maybe rolling out more league-wide merchandise and sharing in that, television contracts, the actual Grey Cup game, what an entity like MLSE could do to boost the Grey Cup game and the festivities around it, and maybe your partnership with university sports. And so you got to look at, everybody evaluates things a little bit differently, but it'd be a long process to look at, okay, how does this league actually make money? What are the current debts that it has and liabilities that are in the books, and how can we capitalize? And then also, what is MLSE set to capitalize if the league is strong? Even if you don't make money on this investment, will it help boost up our value of the Argonauts and some of our other entities and other subsidiaries that guys have ownership pieces of, restaurants in Toronto, things like that? So there's a lot of balls in the air, but
sure,
if MLSE can see a benefit, of course they would do it.
I'm looking at 3 Down Nation right now, and the headline is Ticats All-Star DB Delvin Breaux, quote, if we have a season starting tomorrow in Canada, you won't find me there. And let's not forget, Brandon Banks has said the same thing. Mm-hmm. I'm not wearing a helmet in 2020. So where do we stand on that? Should we believe them or should we not? Are they just talking like the Rider fans that say, I'm burning my season tickets, I'm never going to another game, and then they're the first one in line to renew? Do you know what I mean? Are they just talking? Are they just blowing off steam? How much stock do we put in these comments from the players? Because I still think they'll play. And Armando Moreno writes in, he is a global football reporter. He says, are U.S. just slid off the screen.
U.S. college football players eligible to play in the CFL if college sports is canceled this fall?
I would suggest they are.
Right. You can always leave. Now, the question is, would they be eligible to go back to the NCAA and finish? So you'd be looking at guys in their senior year who want to not finish school, come play in the CFL for a year, and then go into the NFL draft and whatnot. But that would be interesting.
Colin in Ottawa says, how do you increase TV rights when the league re-upped with TSN just last year for the same amount as the previous deal? Pardon me. Not that hard, in my opinion. The XFL went bankrupt, was bought, and are now renegotiating with ESPN and Fox.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a different entity. Yeah. You negotiated with them. You didn't negotiate with whatever my entity is called, right?
Right. It's different companies. That's how business works. It happens all the time. I'm going to break. I want to answer your question, Zach, but I don't think now's the time. I'm not even going to mention it, but Stay tuned. We'll be back with Overtime in a moment, okay? We'll talk about sports on tap tonight in the world. We'll talk about the rock star of the day. Lots coming up. It's the RP Show, Game Plus TV Network, Facebook Live, and listen live at rodpeterson.com.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpeterson.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.